listening to the Pittsburgh Pile Driver.
What the hell is that?
Podcast.
Hello, it's Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast time. We're here to talk wrestling, and that's allegedly what we do. So, let's do wrestling. Tiger Bomb Tom, Poot the Bard, Beef the Legend, McRansom, we're all here to be dumb and faced and go. Talk wrestling.
Hi, McRansom.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba. Beef's loving it.
How'd be that haggis today?
Are we
So upset.
are we sure? Did
Hold
we
on.
ever figure out what your lineage is?
He just
We're here to talk about wrestling.
he just sent it to us today, and his world has been shattered. So I'm gonna rub his balls in it a little bit. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Beef. Hey, Beef.
Been a minute. Hey, Tom.
Hey. What there were some things that happened here lately with the state of the title and the state of picks and the beginning of we literally went right out of the fucking frying pan and into the fire from Q2 to Q3. So why don't
The fire.
so why don't we catch everybody up
Into
on
the
what's
fire, I'm telling to do. Yeah.
You're going
Well,
full Dawkins? Never go full Dawkins.
Always. Nothing says rockin' like Dawkins, my dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so if you would have listened to the Beef fireside chat, one in a series of many, you would know that we do have a new, and I'm not like balderdashing you folks, the three of you. I'm talking to the rest of the yahoos out there. Listen to things on our channels and you'll learn a good many thing. Anyway, yes, we do have a new champion in the house chooser. I'm trying to find the numbers here, but it's Amber. It was kind of a fait accompli. I think we all kind of landed on that last. God, it's been since Forbidden Door. I think we kind of all landed on the fact that it was probably going to happen. But you put some big points on Swerve, and none of us thought that Swerve was going to win, and by God, didn't Swerve win.
Yep.
So,
That was
Amber
something
finished-
else, man.
Amber finished with 249, which is a very good total. Pat
Amber
and
parentheses
Dave-
Pat.
He'll be here soon if you want to needle him about it. I support this good cop, bad
I'm not
cop.
going to needle him. I'm
show.
going to baseball bat him with it. I'm going to call him out on his bullshit just like I'll call Poot out on his bullshit.
So, Pat 1A and Dave both scored 232. And the rest of us are so far behind. Tom was closest with 214.
Woo.
Then came me at 212. Then came Poot at 209. Then
Ugh.
came Ransom at 181. So
But-
it was
I'll go ahead.
Go ahead. No, there's not much I can.
But
There's
it's
not much more I want
it's
to say about things.
it's a new day. Yes, it is. And what's our standings now in this quarter, Beef?
I don't know, man. I just closed all that shit because I saw that Pat posted that stupid fucking title, and
The anger shark started
Man.
swimming.
Give me my goddamn flowers.
Why don't you take your
Yes,
flowers out of your mouth there, fucking hamburglar?
I'm not. I told it about a hamburger. I'm sorry. I'll just put it down and go eat some haggis, McRansom.
You can just not talk with your mouth full, you fucking 4-year-old.
I'll do whatever the fuck I want.
He's got
Yeah,
you there. Okay.
We're real worried about being professional and getting listeners here when we have nom 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 on the mic.
I think.
Well, I had a long day, and I hate
I
to
don't
eat.
give a shit, John Madden. Swallow before you talk to me.
John
I
Madden.
think Jesus Christ, I'm wrangling cats already, and we've been recording for fucking 10 minutes.
Hey, you wanted to record a show tonight, buddy. Strap
yeah.
in.
I did. Okay, here we are. So this quarter, Poot is off to a hot start, as his bellowing would lead you to believe.
Yeah.
He's at 32 points right now.
No, it's
And
more
they're-
than that, isn't
No.
it?
Nope.
No, bro, it's 32.
This isn't
Okay.
Uno at Ransom House where you can just yell out a number and then slide your cards onto the deck. We're checking.
Uno.
Quit holding them.
Check it.
I got 4.
again.
You had 8 cards in your hand. No, it was only 3.
I got
Quit
4.
holding them.
Poot, that's worth 50. I got 4. So Poot's at 32. Me, Tom, and Pat are all tied at 28. Ransom's at 27. Dave is checking in pretty low at 22. I missed Amber. Sorry. Our current cruiserweight champion, Amber, is at 25. Then Dave at 22. And then Scoop at 17. With all due respect to Scoop, this is the best he started in his history.
Ever.
So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
with a start like this, he may actually be able to finish. We'll see.
Half the battle's just getting the picks in.
Yeah.
If he can manage to
Yeah.
get all the picks in for all the shows, it might not be so bad.
No, it was based upon his picks so far. They've been pretty abhorrent.
Shut
Scoop, I
up.
love you, buddy. But you're
But-
not. You come to school with Professor Beefington, and we'll teach you how to pick. Because clearly it's going so well for me, right? Anyway, so that's where we are currently. The quarter 3 is probably going to run through the end of September, which will include the likes of don't quote me on this, SummerSlam,
Definitely.
Bad Blood, No Mercy, NXT No Mercy, All In, All Out,
The
Wrestle
Hokey-
Dream if they do it again.
AEW Hokey Pokey Shake It All About.
And then quarter 4 will be October through the end of the year, which again is usually a lighter schedule. So, well, there you go. All right. So enough about our. I mean, I keep insulting it by calling it like a little fake title, but like Tom's got the the real deal, the real McCoy. So like I no offense to that wonderful a trophy that you've gotten for us. But enough about our pretend title here. Let's talk about the real McCoy.
The
Because
real,
there's a lot of stuff going on.
the real life pretend titles that we talk about.
Yeah, it's still real to me, damn it.
Yes.
I don't even know like where to start. AEW has me bipolar. Every 5 minutes, I think I feel a little bit differently about it. I'm a little bit more bullish on WWE at the moment, but like at the same time, I there's some things I'm not happy with there. So like I think the happiest, honestly, I am is with NXT, which is a weird thing to say in 2024, but here we are.
So
Um,
I know one
so
thing.
we could.
I know one thing that you're.
Jeez.
I know one thing that you're gonna say that you're not happy with is the men's Money in the Bank briefcase being pissed away so early. Right.
Always so pissed about that shit. Always so
Right.
pissed about that shit, man.
All right, but I wanna offer you an alternative perspective here. So let me bend your ear if I may. So we just got off of a lengthy run with the briefcase with Damien, right? Now, logic would tell us that Tiffy isn't gonna cash hers in like anytime soon. She's probably gonna have a lengthy run with hers on the women's side. So in this case with the men's briefcase, I'm kind of okay in the fact that they did what they did with this because it helped further along. It helped further the story along between Punk and Drew McIntyre. And then it also kind of reintroduced in the animosity between Seth and Punk, because with the end of the match happening and Seth losing, he can't challenge for the title as long as Damian is World Heavyweight Champion, which I think a lot of people are under the assumption that that's probably only going to last until SummerSlam anyways, when he drops it to Gunther. But you never know. Stranger things could happen. Who knows? But what they did with the briefcase and everything like that, the biggest story right now, the biggest angle that the WWE has going on is arguably Punk and Drew. So having the briefcase kind of used in this sense the way it was, I'm a little bit more okay with it, because we didn't need another lengthy men's run with it, because Damian just got off the one. And I understand the concept, like the briefcase for the longest time was used, like, okay, well we want to get this person in the title hunt at some point within the next year. And, it's kind of all right, let's wait and see sort of thing, like where can we fit this in? But we didn't really need it on the men's side, like, and arguably Money in the Bank is better. It's better utilized whenever a heel gets it anyways. Like, I mean, think of the baby faces that have gotten it, and think of the heels that have gotten it. And the heel cash-ins are always more exciting, and more dramatic, and everything like that. So,
Is Drew not a heel?
He's kind of a tweener. I don't think that they've given designation to those two. I think that they just let them be.
Well,
and it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
But I mean, in the case of like the participants that were involved in the men's Money in the Bank briefcase match, you look at it, Andrade, there's no way he was gonna win. They haven't been doing shit with him. Let's see, who do we have? We had Andrade. You had Jey Uso in there. Jey Uso, uber babyface. Would it have made sense to put it on him? Yeah, it could have, but he really didn't need it. You could easily put Jey in the in a title shot sort of thing or whatever, and it would make sense. LA Knight, yeah, he could have had it too, but again,
at this point, he's never gonna.
Yeah, that's a whole nother can of worms. But my point is like in the case of this instance, in this particular time with them, doing the hot potato cash in, as I'll call it, I'm a little bit more okay with it, because it served its purpose to now. To Ransom's point, he just asked, is Drew a heel? Or did you ask if Punk was a heel?
No, Drew.
I asked if Drew was a heel, because I thought the last time we talked about this, someone had stated that Punk was clearly the face and Drew was clearly the heel. Yeah. So I didn't know if that had switched or gotten blurred.
No. So that's the beauty of this with this particular situation. Now, like, you could have argued before, like, okay, Drew was the heel because he accidentally injured Punk, and then they turned that into a work, and Drew, I prayed for this to happen, and blah, blah, blah. So then Punk kind of comes back at him and screws him out, screws him over at WrestleMania, more or less, like, has a little bit of a hand or a distraction in it or whatever. And so, okay, now Drew's bitchy heel, and Punk continues to play mind games with him, and he screws him over at the last Premium Live event. But now it's like to the excessive point where it's like, okay, maybe now you kind of start to feel for Drew a little bit. So in this case, again, the briefcase was used very well in that now we're kind of blurring the line. Well, is Drew the heel, or like is Punk really just being an asshole about everything? So it's like it really is starting to blur the lines between the two, and you could very easily do you can garner some sympathy for Drew, because, man, he's just been beaten down. So you could make arguments for both sides, but I think it's compelling that you could sit there and have that argument now. Like,
So here's what I'll say,
you know.
and here's what I learned from the men's Money in the Bank. A, the WWE has
Oops.
no interest in having two Money in the Banks out and about for the better part of a year, which is silly to me, and it's been well documented.
You
My
finance in the field.
feelings that this is something that I think is like this is a golden ticket. You can do whatever the fuck you want with this. So to burn one within a month is stupid. To burn it same night
Yep.
is sacrilege. So,
But
first
now,
of all,
well,
that tells
it
me that
depends.
one, yes, but WWE has no, they don't care to have two of them out and about. Two, and I don't know if that's because of lack of creativity or what. Two, it tells me what I need to know about the participants of this match, which I was not sold on to begin with. It was very clear when Drew was added that he was going to be the guy. But I also know now that Jey Uso, they're never going to pull the trigger with him. Lord knows if he's ever going to get a fucking singles title. Mello, I think they have high hopes for. Andrade made a mistake coming back because they have nothing for him other than being a guy who can take bumps.
Yep.
And sometimes be in good matches. LA Knight, much like Jey Uso, they have no interest in cashing in on his popularity currently because they got other irons in the fire. And Chad Gable is kind of doing his own thing right now. I think he's doing his best work of his career. So, like, I feel like coming out of that match, I feel hope for Gable. I feel hope for Mello.
Mhm.
I feel bad for Uso. I feel bad for LA Knight. And I feel like Andrade's lost. And I feel like Drew didn't need this. And again, it's well documented. I'm not going to sit here and piss all over it because I've done it many times. I think it's short-sighted. And yes, so in this scenario, okay, it was neat. And it did add a lot of fuel to the fire with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre and everything else. But, like, did you have to do it that night? Like, was there a better time to do it? Could you have waited? Maybe give them their one-on-one match, have Drew beat Punk, and then have, bitter old man Punk come out and screw him out of his Money in the Bank. So, like, I feel like it was a little short-sighted because, like, here's the thing. That Punk and Drew thing right now is the hottest angle they have going. The hottest angle in wrestling, period, is Drew and Punk. I don't think it needed any additional heat. This is like throwing a log on a fucking blazing inferno. Like, oh, it needs more fire. No, it doesn't. Let it fucking burn, man. When it needs tinder, absolutely throw that shit on. So, like, I just, I'm not in favor of a guy like Drew winning anyway, when a guy like Braun Breaker could have, or Ilya Dragunov could have, or fucking Ludwig Kaiser, or Mello, or fucking Trick, or, any number of these young guys coming through the system currently.
Yeah, I mean, I understand your point, and I generally do agree with, not wanting to waste the Money in the Bank on the same night or anything like that. But all I'm saying is, in this instance, I
agree. It was a neat bit of booking to get Seth back involved in it.
Yeah. But
in general, I just don't think that this, like, blazing white hot angle needed anymore.
Well, like I said, I think you add that other dimension now because now you add Seth in. So what's going to happen whenever Punk and Drew have their match at SummerSlam, or if Drew is quote unquote reinstated by then? Which, sidebar, Drew is conveniently, quote unquote, suspended indefinitely right now. There's another company that WWE's been having a very close working relationship with that has a show coming up. Just saying.
I like that idea, but I think that Punk went to bat for him on Monday night, and like
Oh,
Pierce
yeah.
is bringing him back.
Okay, I didn't see that, so I
The Punk
apologize.
was like, "Hey, I want this match," and Pierce is like, "Okay, but you got to stay home next week if I'm going to bring Drew in." So like, I mean, obviously they're working towards SummerSlam. Like, this, people speculated that with the injury in Chicago, that the Punk wasn't ready or whatever. But like, I am never been more certain that Punk is absolutely ready to go, and we're going to see that match at SummerSlam. But I just, I get it. I get it, but at the same time, again, like, does that blazing inferno really need that extra little log on there? Maybe. Maybe
Well, I
not.
think
You could argue that it would be something that would take it up over the top, but like I kind of agree with you on this one there, Beef. Like, they could have used this as a tool to, over the course of the next couple months, hell, even the next bulk of the next year, like, really elevate one of the other talents that is there. Not that, like, I mean, either really elevate them or give them just another tool, another foil to kind of play off of. Jey Uso would have been a really good, like, just imagining him running over the next couple months with that briefcase. Any program you put him in, he can just kind of run roughshod. LA Knight would have done great with it. But again, I'm biased on that. I really like LA Knight. And, I wish they would just strike while the iron's hot. But yeah, to burn it that quick, if I could see it if the angle wasn't cooking the way it is and there wasn't that visceral nature to it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. All the people that are involved in this CM Punk, kind of sphere right now, it all feels very, hey, yeah, we're out here doing the WWE thing, but like, fuck you, CM Punk. Like, that's how Drew feels. That's how Seth feels, where they're like, I don't like this guy. Fuck you. And we're coming out working together because we're pros, but fuck you, dude. Like, that's how it feels. It didn't need that extra log thrown on the fire. It didn't need that, that zhuzh, if you will. Like, it was fine the way it was rolling.
So real quick before we pivot or anything, I just want to get your thoughts. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, SummerSlam. The only way that I can see this going down, and I think a perfect world, would be an unsanctioned match, or as AEW likes to call them, an lights out match. Basically, where the company says we won't be held accountable for what happens. Play up the Punk still injured card, play up the whole like they're ready to kill each other card, whatever. But like, have the company have have Triple H come out there and be like, listen, I know that you're both ready to fucking kill each other. That's cool. But you both need to sign this hold harmless agreement so that you're indemnifying the company. I think that way they can be as brutal and give them carte blanche. And again, makes it a believable story given where they're at. So like, in your mind, what's a great way to start? And it's weird to say the word start, but I mean, from a wrestling perspective, Punk and McIntyre have not shared a wrestling ring in a
since Royal
competitive
Rumble.
sense
Yeah.
since Royal Rumble. So
Yeah.
like, how would you start this feud?
I want to hear Ransom's take first.
Yeah.
I guess before I answer this question, since I didn't say anything about the last discussion that you fucks were having.
I said it wasn't the pivot. This is all intertwined, so feel free.
So I am riding high on WWE since H took over. I think it's the best it's been in decades. And that's my opinion. Disagree with it if you will, that's fine. But there were a series of failures in this Money in the Bank match. Drew shouldn't have been in it. If you wanted to put Drew in the title match and have Punk screw Drew out of the title, fine, slot him in there a different way. Make it a triple threat match. Figure out a way. You have an entire creative team. You can do that. You can change things up on the fly. That's the way it should have been done. Drew shouldn't have been in that match to begin with, the Money in the Bank match. Somebody else should have won it. They should have used it as a catapult to propel somebody forward. I don't think that the Drew Punk feud at this point needed the Money in the Bank. They could have just screwed Punk, or they could have just screwed Drew out of the title in like a triple threat match, whatever. So I think they dropped the ball on having Drew in the Money in the Bank match to begin with. They dropped the ball on not giving someone who is a young up-and-comer or old up-and-comer, LA Knight, an opportunity to win Money in the Bank. And I think they also dropped the ball on, hey, Money in the Bank winner tonight. Hey, Money in the Bank cash in. If you don't want to have two Money in the Banks floating around out there, don't have two. Have one. Have a Money in the Bank for someone, men or women, I don't care, at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Then have a Money in the Bank ladder match for the opposite gender at WrestleMania. Then you don't have two floating out there at the same time in the ether. You have a whole half a year to figure out how to, have somebody cash in, or if there's two floating around in the ether, it's only for a couple months before somebody cashes in. Like, stop giving this Money in the Bank thing. Stop having two briefcases out there and then going, well, we don't really want two briefcases out there, so we're going to have someone cash in right quick. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm not a fucking millionaire like the people that are in WWE, so what do I know? And clearly, by my picks, I don't know jack shit. Punk and Drew, I don't like I don't like the idea of an unsanctioned match because I just think that's kind of stupid. This is an unsanctioned match, but we're going to have a company referee in there in our company ring with our company logo on our company, premium live event. Yeah. Like, okay, so yeah, it's unsanctioned, but you're still broadcasting it. You still got a referee in there. You still have an announced team there. You still have, camera work, pyro, all that bullshit. So is it really unsanctioned? Call it something else. If you want it to be impactful, no DQ, whatever. Fucking throw them in a cell. That's what I'd like to see. Like, don't have this unsanctioned match where they think is stupid and bullshit anyway. Toss them in a fucking Hell in a Cell. Everybody always saves the Hell in the Cell for like the blow off. They've fought for so long. Each has won something. Now they're gonna finally finish it in Hell in a Cell. Start it in the goddamn Hell in a Cell. Who cares? If this is as fire as a feud as we're all making it out to be, start off hot. Toss them in a cell. There's nothing to say that, I'm sorry. There's nothing to say that they can't have a brutal, terrible match inside Hell in a Cell. The only thing that honestly concerns me at all about it being anything other than a traditional 1v1 match, is fucking Fragile Phil. Like, man, what a colossal bummer and waste of time this will be if they decide to do balls to the wall, ham, egg, and cheese right from the start and go, you know what? This is going to be impactful. Send them out there, let them kill each other. And then fucking Punk with his brittle bone disease gets hurt yet again and is out for another 6 to 9 months. Can you imagine the waste of a buildup from fucking Royal Rumble to here to have one match and Punk gets hurt and has to go away for another half a year? Maybe it is best to just start out with a nice one-on-one match, ease them back in, don't hurt them. Don't tase me, bro. Like, ooh.
Lot of headlocks, lot of, rest holds.
Give them some rest holds. Yeah, that's it. Put them in a headlock. Yeah, a lot of arm drags and scoop slams. Nothing crazy.
Some back rakes.
Yeah, back rakes, thumb to the eye.
That's
Not
not
too
gonna
hard
work for
though,
me,
because you
brother.
don't want him to have to. You don't want him to have to wear an eye patch for 6 months. So like just delicate
not
little blow in the blow in his eye a little bit. Don't hurt him.
Incited tonight. I'm not going to be incited. Mm-mm. I am not going to play.
I'm not trying to incite you. I'm just telling you, man. Like, again, it's a fucking pattern with this dude. Like, they need to be gentle with him coming back, especially if they said that he was going to be out for longer. Like, if he's rushing to get back, ooh, boy, like
Accidents happen, bro. Cody tore his pec while training. Like, Adam Cole has been on the shelf for a year because he jumped off the stairs wrong. Like, freak things fucking happen. And again,
I'm
like,
not saying freak things don't happen. I'm saying when it happens this much, it's a pattern.
Well, okay.
Sorry?
Nope. I told you I'm not going to be drawn into this debate with you. I really will not. Anyway,
You will.
before we get to the other
Don't get Mick angry.
riotous people on this podcast, I do want to introduce our special guest this evening. The man who earned his spot here, unlike the rest of us. None of us have earned a damn thing. Mr. Midcard Maniac himself, the husband of the Cruiserweight champion, Pat.
Asterisk.
Hello, Pat. Say hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
The first
Pat.
gentleman, if you will.
Take that microphone out of your mouth there, buddy. Calm down.
Listen here, you shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
Hey, you know what? Maybe I actually will because I'm talking to the Cruiserweight champ.
No, she's out watching a movie with her best
Ain't
friend.
no one on this podcast believing that she went from bottom of the barrel to tippy top of the mountain in one single stroke. No one's buying your horse shit, Pat. You fucking submitted your own picks and then you submitted picks for her. Don't
Nope.
sit here and lie to my ear hole with your
Nope.
hot ass microphone and your dog's barking in the background. I don't know exactly what you did. I'm onto your games, boy. I'm wise to you.
Yeah, okay.
See?
I'll tell you what. You believe what you want to believe, and the rest of us will live in reality.
Hey, Pat. I believe in Joe Hendry. What do you have to say about that?
Oh, I love me some Joe Hendry.
Who doesn't, man? Like the LA Knight of 2024, Joe Hendry. I want to get there. I do, but I think that it is fair. I threw out the question about the LA Knight, the Drew McIntyre
LA Knight.
match at SummerSlam. What do you guys want to see? What do you think would be most apropos? We've heard from Ransom the Hell in a Cell match, which I think was actually brought up to Phil at an after event conference, and he scoffed at. I still believe Hold Harmless or like.
I don't want to be in a Hell in a Cell match. I'll just get hurt again.
What
I'd
about
rather
the
be in a
rest
bra
of
and
you,
panties match, brother, so I don't get hurt.
Okay,
That's not gonna work for
I
me,
will
brother.
not be drawn
nope.
into this tonight, Ransom.
I'd like a pillow fight match so I don't get ouchie arm again.
Okay.
Poof. Poof.
Pat,
Poof.
Pat, you seem to be singularly or doubly have your finger on the pulse here. What are you thinking?
Tell Beef how much of a chicken shit CM Punk is and how he's always hurt. Tell him.
Well, I mean, that goes without saying, but still.
Ah!
It's kind of confusing what they're doing with CM Punk because you have him in this battle with Drew, but now you have thrown Seth into it. It's like, which way does he go? Is he fighting with Seth? Is he fighting with Drew? I don't know where to look because he's fighting with both of them. So who's going to come out with the next match? Is it going to be Drew or is it going to be Seth?
It's going to end up being a weird triple threat. That's what it's going to be. And that's to protect CM Punk, not only his frail visage, but also his legitimacy.
Yeah.
Or LS Punk.
You guys really are trying with me tonight, and I just am not. I'm in a great mood, regardless of you sullying the best in the world's name. I will not.
He's not sullying Shane McMahon.
Yeah, or Chris
Now-
Jericho. I don't know who you're
Yeah,
talking
now-
about.
Chris Jericho.
All right. Now you are trying to make fuck with me. Poot, tell him.
What?
Say something about something before
Best on the mic, maybe. Best in the ring years ago.
Ransom.
Someone been doing some things. I'm saying stuff for the Beefingtons. So
No,
by the way,
the match, director Punk. What do you want to see? What do you think they should do?
Drew McIntyre.
Ah,
quit holding them.
Hold on. No, wait, I got something for you.
go ahead.
Okay.
Apparently now it's Tiffy time.
You're trying to pivot. You can't pivot, Pat.
Oh, I pivoted
No,
because
you
you're
didn't.
I need to go get some more rosuvastatin. Poot, talk about the McIntyre Punk match at SummerSlam, please.
Here we go.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
McIntyre Punk match. It's gonna be one.
Astute observation.
Listen. I think here's the thing. I think honest to God, like all joking and goofs and gaffs aside, I
hear my
think
heartbeat
that
in my ear.
I think these two guys, despite their general overall disdain for each other and their and how they do not get along and the John and everything like that, I think they are going to have a really fucking cool match. I think if they do just a traditional 1v1, I think they're going to try and have it be that they're going to try and have it be like where they're technically matched with each other. Even though Drew is a big, dumb, stupid fucking brute. They're going to, I mean that in the nicest way possible. I feel like they're going to do the thing where like Drew's going to try and put that aside and they're going to do a technical thing and they're going to be evenly matched. And then in the middle of the thing, Drew's going to heal up on Punk and he's going to just brutalize him, throw him around. And then Seth Rollins is going to get involved and have Punk beat McIntyre, which is going to fucking piss off McIntyre more. And he's going to blame Seth Rollins. And then these guys are all going to get into a big triple threat for the next larger pay-per-view or next premium live event or PLE. I really think that's going to be kind of the move they're going to make because I mean, and then they'll do like a no holds barred, no disqualification, or they'll put them in Hell in a Cell, or they'll do some kind of gimmicky thing with it. The other thing that they could do is they could pull the trigger on that now. They could just make the next one fine. You guys want to beat the fuck out of each other, knock yourselves out, go for it. Anything goes. And just let Drew and Punk beat the actual super piss out of each other. And it'll be super entertaining because despite their disagreements like IRL, they're able to be professional and put on something that is wildly entertaining. And both of them are able to look at this and go, this is all the money in the world. The crowd's going to be hot. It's going to be super good. Let's make this the best we can. I think that's the two routes that they could possibly fucking go.
So
I finally figured out why CM Punk does the pose where he crosses his arm in front of his chest, because that's the symbol that the ref's always throwing up whenever CM Punk is wrestling.
damn it. All right, before Beef has the chance to like literally and figuratively explode where he's sitting, I'm kind of with Poot on this. However, the one thing that I would have said differently, like I don't know about Seth coming down and you said he would cost Drew the match and help Punk win. I think it would be the other way around. I think if anything, he would want to come down and screw over Punk. But either way, I think I think it does end up with like some sort of triple threat. Hell, let's combine some ideas. Let's take Ransom's Hell in a Cell idea. Maybe not necessarily as the start, but if you do have it as a blow off, and let's have a fucking triple threat Hell in the Cell. Have we had that before?
I don't know if I
Not
got a
very
triple
often.
threat. I don't dislike the idea of Seth getting involved, but I do think it's more important to at least have the very first confrontation be solely between Drew and Punk, because the build-up between those two has been so long and so visceral. Like, Seth just got involved with it in, this last PLE.
That's
I
the thing,
think-
though. It started with Punk and Seth, though. Like,
It
that's
did,
the whole,
yeah.
it was going to be Punk and Seth at WrestleMania until Drew
Punk got hurt.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So, like,
Right, but then they
kinda pivoted
pivoted.
on
They
this.
pivoted completely away from that and fully leaned into Drew and Punk. Like, that's where this entire build has gone since Royal Rumble. So, like, I feel like they need to have at least one match, just the two of them, to start it out. You can weave Seth in down the line and have it culminate in a, triple threat, whatever the hell kind of match you want. But, like, I don't know. I think it should start out at least with just Punk and Drew.
I saw something interesting. All these fucking wrestling sites with their fucking projections.
Oh my gosh, there's 12 billion of them these days.
Yep. And they're all built to do exactly what Ransom is doing with me, which is to get me fucking fired up. So you reply to that fucking page, and then all of a sudden you're following that page, and you're putting money in their pocket. Don't be a sucker. Be a beef. I mean, I'm also a sucker too. Anyway, the
Sucking these
projection I
nuts.
saw was Punk and Drew with Seth as a special guest referee.
Gress.
And I saw that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's fucking interesting, man." It'd be
Oh, yeah, because who's he going to screw at that point?
It'd be a weird call, but at the same time, I think it would be really neat, given how Seth and McIntyre went at WrestleMania. I think that that there are some strings there that you can pull, so you can get them all involved, and have it all fucking probably blow up and be some weird fucking like non-finish that carries us through to fucking WrestleMania 2025. But yeah, I'm intrigued, and again, like, I'm not happy that they burned Money in the Bank for it, but it was a neat ending and a great way to get Seth back involved in the angle. So as my boy Greg says, I'm gonna let them cook and
Yeah.
see what they got. To Pat's point, it is in fact, we can check the time here. It is in fact Tiffy time.
Yep.
And I think that we are in staunch agreement that this was not only the right move, but the only move coming out of Money in the Bank.
Agreed. I honestly don't know. I don't even remember all of the other participants right off the top of my head. But man, like, just looking at that list, like, there was no doubt in my mind that it was going to be Tiffy. Like, I had one. I take that back. I had one moment of self-doubt when Io Sky was coming to the ring, and they mentioned about how the fact that nobody had won Money in the Bank back-to-back besides CM Punk, and I was like, don't fucking do this to me. Please don't do this to me. But it just makes sense. The whole... Go ahead.
I had one moment of doubt. You know what that was?
What's that?
Chelsea Green.
Oh man, I don't know. I didn't think that she was gonna win, but honestly, like, it would have been neat if she won. But I absolutely 100% the right call was Tiffy. Like, they made the right call. I don't see how you could have gone any other way. If they decided to go with Chelsea, though, I don't know. If it would have been neat, but then it was like, but then I would have been thinking, like, okay, well then what? Like,
Isn't that Matt Cardona's girlfriend?
Yes, wife. Yeah.
Wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so right there is exactly why I didn't want Chelsea Green to win, because the very next day, Matt's stupid beer-faced Cardona would show up on some stupid indie wrestling show with a goddamn Money in the Bank briefcase.
You sure would.
Look at it! Look at it!
Yeah, he
Oh,
would've.
I would have, fucking
Yep.
vomited all over the earth.
I'd have
You
loved
and
it.
the rest of the internet wrestling community, and that's exactly why he does that
He's
shit,
the
man.
king of the
I-
indies, and now he's rich, but to me, he will always be Edge's bitch.
I don't think that there was okay. The only bad move that they could have made with Women's Money in the Bank was Naomi.
No,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
only. EO would have been a bad move too. Who else we had? Naomi.
I don't.
We had Naomi. We had
EO, I
EO.
think would have been
Chelsea.
fine.
Tiffy.
Chelsea, I think, would have been fun because her whole let
The
me talk
hot
to the
mess
manager
gimmick.
thing.
Well, I'm just trying to think of the other
like,
participants at this point. So
Zoe Stark, Zoe Stark, I think would have been because they're very high on her, and I think that she wrestles a very brutal style, and I am coming around on her a little bit. Lyra
There we go.
Valkyria was the other one, which a face you said earlier, a face with the Money in the Bank is kind of a weird thing,
yeah,
but it's worked in the
It's
past.
awkward.
It's worked whenever CM Punk cashed in on, was it Edge, I think, after Batista bombed him.
Yeah.
And like when RVD won his first big one. So like if you're a face and
Dolph.
you're cashing in, Dolph
Dolph was a heel.
he was
No,
a face at the
Dolph
time.
was
Yeah.
a heel. Dolph was a heel when.
Bit-
Excuse me. Hold on. Dolph was a heel when he won it, but it just so happens to be that the crowd that night where they were at, I think they were in Jersey at that point. The crowd, it was one of those fucky crowds like a Chicago or a Philly crowd where they're like, yeah, we're gonna cheer who we want to cheer and boo who we want to boo.
I
and
think
we don't
I think
conform
they
to
were
them.
ready for it, man.
If
At that time.
If you're a face and it's your first big like score, absolutely. Danielson was another one.
Mhm.
So like if I think if it's your first big time one, absolutely. But like if you're a guy like John Cena, and again, all credit in the world due to the greatest of all time, uh, he didn't need it. Why? Like, what was the fucking purpose? Uh, so like there have been faces who won it, and it's silly because it's like you don't need that. But like for the most part, I think we can all agree, heels are what Money in the Bank is meant for.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's, I think, is where I think Chelsea would have had a lot of fun. And therein is kind of like the duality because yeah, Tiffany's technically a heel, but like if you judge by crowd reactions, I don't think anybody in the world would consider her a heel right now. So like, I don't know, man. I do know. I'll say it again just for posterity. I do think that this is the right choice. That Tiffany Stratton was the best choice for Miss Money in the Bank this year.
Mhm.
I just hope that they can make it entertaining. It seems like maybe Nia is gonna beat Bailey for the title, and this whole like Nia Tiffany thing's gonna blow up because of it, which would be interesting. Maybe the Money in the Bank really kind of cementing her face turn. I don't know. But yeah, I'm here for it. I'll also say that I think that the women's Money in the Bank match itself was the match of the night, and maybe the best Money in the Bank match, at least of the last decade. It was very, very good. Those ladies are playing for keeps, and again, I think that it was like last year where the women outdid the men. I think that it's the same situation where they killed it, and the men's was okay, not the best, but it was okay. But the women like came out and was like, nope, we're gonna put our stamp on this.
I I thought it was interesting the match placements on the card. Obviously once they opened up with the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, kind of knew that it kind of reaffirmed my my pick of Drew in the beginning, like that they were gonna do something with him later on in the show. But I found it, and I'll use the word interesting. more so from the psychology of it, not because I was personally a fan of the match itself, but like the whole Bloodline match with it having that main event kind of felt weird given the fact of how good the other matches on the card were. Like, say what you will about the result of like Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, but that was a great match. The Bloodline match, I think my theory is why they put it on at the end is because they wanted that last impression of the pay-per-view to be Solo pinning Cody and to kind of make that stick with you, because otherwise, like, Solo's still just very meh. Like, he brought in some bigger batter Samoans to back him up and stuff like that, but Solo himself is just kind of still meh.
He's got a Sisyphus battle, man. He's pushing a boulder up a hill.
He is.
Because, like, I mean, you're going up against, like, coming off the heels of Roman Reigns, and say what you want, but Roman Reigns really has kind of, like, in my opinion, cemented where he should be. Yeah. You know, that the heel run, the title run, the whole thing. And Solo, he's putting his chin out there and going, go ahead, hit me, go ahead. Like, I know what I'm doing. I know what this is. I know what you people think it is. And he's doing it every week. And he's bringing in all the other Samoans. Like, it's.
And here's what's interesting. And I think that they're doing this on purpose.
Oh, they absolutely. As I say, the fact that they put that match last on, that was definitely intentional. Like, that was absolutely on purpose. But go on.
The fact that they're making Jacob Fatu an emerging star, like, if you listen to the way that commentary talk about him, about him being a dangerous man, and like him backing it up in the ring, and like everything we've seen of Jacob Fatu so far, like, they are very high on the Samoan werewolf, and But
I thought he's Tongan.
Think that no, the other two are Tongan.
Whatever.
I think that that they are absolutely looking to the future with him, and I think what's going to be neat is when we get the payoff for Roman and Solo. I think at some point Jacob's probably going to turn his back on Solo for the real tribal chief. And I think we're going to get some good matches. But like right now, Solo doesn't look better than Jacob. Jacob right now is fucking a superstar. Solo just looks like a guy. Mm-hmm. Like if you put a gun to my head right now and said, okay, Bloodline versus Cody at SummerSlam, who gets it, Jacob or Solo? I'd say give it to Jacob, because, man, that'd be a fucking killer match. Solo's okay, but, like, his thing with the Bloodline was, like, he was the big dude that, like, was the muscle, right? Like, Jacob Fatu's got that in fucking in heaps. So, like, now he's a fake ass tribal chief with muscle that was better at doing what he did than he ever was. So, but here's the thing. I'll say this: I'm still interested in the Bloodline story.
Yeah,
that has been going on for 4 years now. So that means that they're doing something right.
I'm interested to see where they take it. The only thing I'll disagree with you on is I don't want to see Cody versus Jacob Fatu. I mean, it's like unless it's a non-title match, because I don't want Jacob to get buried right off the bat. You know what I mean? Like,
fair.
So the only way you put him in a singles match with Cody is if it's non-title, because like when Cody drops that title, it is gonna need to like it's gonna need to feel special or something like that. Like I don't want to see them. Yeah, like I could see this dumbass scenario playing out if they did have Jacob in a title match or whatever. Yeah, Cody drops the title to him, and then Jacob Fatu turns it over to Solo or whatever, and then you get a de facto champion out of that, a la the the mob mafia underling turning something over to the mob boss. Like, I don't want to see that. That's some bullshit. I don't want it. I don't want any finger pokes of doom. Nothing of the such. I don't want that. What I do want to see though, I absolutely want to see fucking Kevin Owens and Jacob Fatu, because I think you said it in the chat, Beef. I never knew how much I needed that fucking matchup until this past pay-per-view. Like, holy shit. Like, the way they had Kevin Owens like just staring daggers through them, like, when they came out, and him just not moving, and just like him just standing there, like, while the other two came out and stuff like that. Like, that was great. That, I don't know, that was a moment for me. But
Ransom, say things.
I echo what Tom said about Jacob Fatu. I don't want him in a title match. A, I don't think they're going to give him the title. B, I don't think he's ready for the title. And C, I think they can build him as a legitimate, unstoppable monster. And say what you will about win-loss records, it's tough to build somebody as a dangerous, unstoppable monster when you have them lose and lose clean.
When they've been stopped, right?
Yeah, you're not really an unstoppable monster at that point. You're just another guy that, fake Homelander beat. So if it's a non-title match, fine. Have him demolish Cody. Just ruin him. Ruin his stupid, pretty, pearly white, smiling American face. Just wipe the floor with it. Fuck him up. But don't book him in a title match for it, because he's not gonna win. And I don't want him beat. I want him protected as unstoppable, because I think it works for him. I think that he can pull that character off, and it doesn't look like he really needs to try. It's like it comes natural. I don't know what to think about Solo. Beef's right. Jacob Fatu is a bigger enforcer, a badder enforcer than Solo ever was. And I don't, maybe this is my ignorance, or maybe WWE is doing a bad job. I don't know. But I don't know what they're trying to do with Solo. Like, are they trying to make him look on purpose like an illegitimate tribal chief so that Roman can come back and they can have this storyline?
I mean,
if they're trying to make him, oh, you think they are?
Yeah,
Absolutely, I think that they're building him up to be
a pretender to the throne. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's all well and good too. I almost wish that Solo would have gone like a little bit of a different route from Roman. We always, I don't know, I can't remember how you guys felt about it, but I always bitched about how, like, Roman never won a match clean by himself. Like, if the bloodline didn't interfere, Roman was going to lose. I kind of had wished that they had gone in the opposite direction with Solo. Like, outside the match, Solo had his bloodline with him, and they would maul people at the behest of Solo, and Solo would stand by with his arms crossed and just kind of watch, his gang tear somebody apart. But then when it came to the actual match, Solo would be kind of the anti-Roman. Like, he would get in and he would fight hard, and the bloodline would never come out to help him win. I know that doesn't really factor in with the whole, like, fake tribal chief thing, because you can't really have him constantly winning legitimately without the help of the bloodline and then call him a fake tribal chief. But that's kind of the angle I had hoped that they would go with him. But if the purposeful angle is you're a fake tribal chief and you're trying to be Roman Reigns but you can't be, then I think it's working.
I I agree with that. I think that is their intention, and which is why you had the whole shit with Paul Heyman, and everything like that, and they did the whole, he got the whatever the necklaces that Roman had, and and Heyman didn't acknowledge him and stuff like that. I think it's one of those, like you said, basically making him look like a pretender to the throne, but I agree with you to the point, like, I wish they would have done something a little different, but at the same time, I see how it makes sense of why Solo would follow in the exact same footsteps that Roman did, because it brought Roman so much success for years with this storyline and everything like that, and Solo, quote unquote, sat under the learning tree, and he's following in Roman's footsteps. But it's just the fact that Roman's gonna come back and say, listen, imitation's the sincerest form of flattery, but you ain't me. I'm the tribal chief. You're just a pretend bitch, and that's
It ain't me.
Yeah, and that's what it's gonna come down to. Like, we've said it before, like, building toward this bloodline civil war. You still got Jimmy Uso out there in the ether, doing whatever, taking with his time away. So he's gonna come back and obviously, be going against Solo and Bloodline 2.0 or whatever you want to call them. So I mean, it's definitely all building toward this culmination of some sort of civil war within the Bloodline family, the whole giant fucking family tree of it all. I'm just interested to see if and how The Rock might play into it, and like what side he would be on or anything like that. I'm interested to see how that might work out, because you could have I think my initial thoughts on it were like Rock would come back and be on the side of Solo, because he would say to Roman, like, hey, you lost at WrestleMania, you brought dishonor to the family, now it's time for me to step in and take it over, or whatever, or something like that. There's still a lot of it's surprisingly to say, there's still a lot of tread left on the tires with this, and the whole Bloodline saga has been going on for years. Like, this is one of the best this is one of the best examples of long-term storytelling that WWE has done in a long time. I can't think of any other story off the top of my head that's like one specific story that's gone on for like this long and still has.
Savage Hogan went on a while, but like I think that this probably even supersedes that a little bit.
Stone Cold McMahon.
Even still, man, the Attitude Era was only like 3 years. Everybody wants to fucking laud it as it's this fucking like generational fucking bullshit. It was fucking 3 years. So like, now in terms of like the gravitas, I'd hear that argument that, yeah, I mean, Stone Cold McMahon is probably a little bit more important than the Bloodline, but yeah, I mean, in terms of sheer capacity, I think Bloodline takes it, or the length. So here's something, a big takeaway that I have from this, and I'm so happy. It's very clear that we're no longer under the McMahon regime, because anytime Vince McMahon would bring in people from a different company, which he was loath to do in the first place, what always happened?
Name
They got
change.
buried.
Both things. They got buried and they got a name change. Both of those things happened all the fucking time. Fucking Jacob Fatu, the Gorillas of Destiny, these dudes look like fucking. They're being made, they're being pushed well, and they're being made to look like animals, and it's fucking working. Again, commentary talking about how like ruthless the Tongans are, Tamatonga, Tongaloa, like, and they're living up to the hype, man.
Well, to that to that point, Beef, they brought in, like, they mixed in real life and, you know, mixed it with hyping up Jacob Fatu as the character.
Yeah.
Because the fact they said, like, this man's so dangerous that WWE had to make arrangements with, you know, with the Canadian government, which is true because the man had fucking felonies and shit. Like, we were wondering if he was actually going to be able to be outside of the US or anything like that, or across the border, because of real life shit. So, like, I absolutely love the fact that that under this Triple H regime that we are referencing people's accomplishments and stuff outside and the history of people and their characters outside of the WWE quote unquote universe, to add depth and add layers to people and their characters and the stories and everything that's going on.
Absolutely. And you know, he you know, let's not. I think that commentary did a great job of making it seem like it was a bigger deal. I don't think it was. It was just a robbery charge. So, like, you know, is it a big deal? Yeah, but like it's not like he was in jail for fucking like murder or fucking
Yeah.
assault or anything. But I
Right.
mean, but when you sit there and you listen to Michael Cole and Corey Graves talk about it, it makes it fucking seem like he was in there, like he beat a man half to death, and it was waiting to get out to finish the job,
Make it seems
which
like
is great.
makes it seem like you know, like somebody the Steelers might have signed that is suspended for half the season to start.
But like, you know, here's the thing, like, and that's, I think, one of the many things that Vince was super short-sighted about. Like, these dudes are an investment. People, you can't assume that they know New Japan, and you know that there will be people who do. But like, you can't assume that your audience knows about MLW or Jacob Fatu or things like that. You know, so as opposed to bringing them in and making them look good for one match and then putting them at the back of the line to be a jobber, Shinsuke Nakamura, you instead build them up and make them look legit, so your audience is like, "Fuck, who's this guy?" And then they have like this library of stuff out there that's maybe not WWE that like legitimizes what they're talking about on TV. And I think that that's what Vince was like. I don't want them going out and finding New Japan World. I don't want them to go out and find MLW. Well, you know, sometimes that's okay, man. Like, yes, absolutely sell your product, but like if somebody has already done something to make your job easier, fucking A. Don't be a
Well,
dummy.
and it's also the idea that it kind of gives you an appreciation for what you already enjoy. You know what I mean? Because it's a different flavor. It's like going and, you know, saying, you know what, I want a Dr. Pepper today, and then going, you know what, I'm feeling like I don't know, Pepsi, you know, like it's that kind of thing. What?
I liked Riz. I laughed at.
I just picture Poot standing in front of the fridge going, boy, I could really go for a frosty can of 400 different flavors in a pot. You know what? Maybe I'll have a regular Pepsi.
Maybe you know what? I go to my fridge all the time and say, I would love to have a Frenobiship.
Just standing there with his freaking slippers with his balls hanging out in front of the fridge. Just, boy, I could go for a Dr. But you know what? I'm going to make a complete 180 right here, and I'm going to switch things up today, and I'm going to have Pepsi.
Hey, man, you know what? Stop. First of all,
vending machine and
first of all,
like, oh, Poot, this is a button. This is a button. Like, you know,
first of all, Ransom.
Say first of all one more time.
First of all, stop hacking.
Okay.
Stop hacking into my fucking like cameras in my apartment. All right.
Hacking, I pay a monthly charge for that, sir.
Shut the fuck up. That
Pootly
was for
fans,
you
thank
and
you.
me. Pootly fans. Oh,
You don't have to be Poot to be on onlypoot.com. Pat, sounds like you've been trying to chime in on the bloodline discussion. Have at it.
Speaking of shutting up, hi, Pat. Welcome to Go Away.
Jesus.
So, well, you mentioned The Rock,
Yes.
and if you maybe go the opposite way, maybe The Rock feels bad for Roman for losing at WrestleMania, and he tries to sympathize with him. And I know this is not going to happen because of what's going on with Jay and Jimmy Uso, but have the old bloodline versus the new bloodline at Survivor Series in War Games.
Well, yeah.
Oh, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. You're going to get Roman and the Usos versus Solo and the Tongans. I'm really hoping that Roman has to crawl back to Sami Zayn and be
Yes.
like, Goose, we need you.
Yes, I was just
And
gonna say that.
Sami
I want
Zayn
Sammy
is
to be
like-
them.
Yep, and Sammy's gonna be the bigger man. It's be like, all right, and Sammy is the guy that takes out fucking Jacob Fatu. However he does it, he doesn't need to pin him, but like in the match, he's the dude that like negates Jacob Fatu. I think that would be one of the coolest things in the world.
That would be
Oh
neat.
man, I would love
Yeah,
for
that would
Sami
be cool.
Zayn to show back up with OG Bloodline and face new Bloodline. Oh,
It would be tough to kind of like crunch that into 3 months at this point. I think that they can do it because again, you got like Pat referenced, like you got to reunite the Usos again. But I mean, they're brothers. They've shown the capability to kind of like have each other's backs.
Yeah.
Which I think ultimately is why they're being so cavalier about not cashing in on main event Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm.
Because they know that in 4 months' time he's gonna be back, with the fucking maybe not back with the bloodline, but like involved in the saga again.
Well, and you also have to think that Jay's on Raw, the Bloodline's on SmackDown, so there's that. If we are trying to adhere to the separation of the brands and stuff like that or whatever,
everybody equal.
yeah, something like that. Something different.
Something different.
There's gonna be something that they're gonna have to do with that or whatever. I really don't see The Rock having sympathy for Roman or whatever, or he comes back and feigns sympathy, but then at the end of the match turns on him or something like that. Because I think ultimately we're gonna get Rock versus Roman, at this WrestleMania. Because no,
I bet we get Cody versus Rock at this year's WrestleMania. Maybe Rock versus Roman's a night 2 affair. But I think that they're absolutely angling for Cody versus Roman this year.
Cody versus who?
Rather. Nope, Cody versus The Rock. Thanks, Ransom.
Here's a hot take on old board of directors Crocky. I don't think he factors in to Bloodline Civil War.
No,
I don't think he comes
him
back for
until-
Survivor Series.
So I think he does, but I don't think we see him until after the end. After Roman and the OG Bloodline are like, holding a victory after War Games. I think the
Yeah, could be.
Final Boss shows up on the fucking screen and was like, you may
I
be
don't
a lot of things, but you're not going to be the tribal chief again, Roman.
I don't think he wrestles. Like, I don't think
Right,
you
agreed.
see Rock wrestle until probably Mania again.
And
He
maybe-
probably
maybe-
appears. Maybe he probably appears like around Mania season, the road to WrestleMania. But like I don't think he's going to come back and wrestle at Survivor Series.
No. And he doesn't have a dog in the fight because
No.
like we referenced, like he supported Roman as the tribal chief, and how did that turn out? Not great. I don't think,
And he's not going to back somebody else. Like he backed
Exactly.
Roman once already as tribal chief. He's not going to
gonna
back
back
some other
himself.
dude. Like
Right,
yeah,
he's gonna back
if it's not
himself.
if it's not Rock being tribal chief, Rock's not going to come back and be in a different tribal chief's corner.
Rock's gonna go. That's not gonna work for me, brother.
Yeah, he's going to pull a Hogan and he's going to brother his way out of there.
I mean, he has been pulling Hogan's as of late, so like
As of late, that was
whenever-
that's the fucking
whenever-
caveat there, bud.
Whenever he decided that he created WrestleMania, whenever he decided that he
I
came up
fucking
with the
love-
American Badass gimmick.
I
and
love those memes.
Man.
God Almighty.
boy,
But
like The Rock.
I think my
What-
favorite
what-
one. I think my favorite one so far was the I saved CM Punk's dog Lariat brawl out. And God, I fucking love that one.
Oh
You
God.
never go full Terry Bollea. Just don't, Rocky. Just don't. Uh, yeah, I mean, and I'll say this, like, all credit to the man, and he, you know what, he may be just trying to spin the marks up, which are just smarks at this point. And if he is, fucking kudos to him because he's
Shark Week?
fucking working. But like, he had the foresight to go. This isn't working. This Rock versus Reigns thing is not what we need to do right now. We need to, by all accounts of what we heard was supposed to happen would have been dog shit. Everything about it would have been dog shit.
It would have been
he had
booze upon
he had the
booze
foresight to
upon
do that.
booze.
Or Triple H had the
Well-
foresight to do that.
Yes.
From what we've heard, Rock was very instrumental in saying, "I want to do something different." Now,
that's what that's what people say when the board of directors says that's what I want you to say.
make no mistake, he put himself over the face of the company 24 hours prior. Like, that happened. Like, that was a thing that we saw The Rock pin Cody Rhodes at night one. So, like, he got his, and he got his chance to look like a fucking superhero, like he like as is his want. But at the end of the day, reportedly, he was the one that made the call that says, "Okay, this is a bad deal. Let's right the wrong."
Reportedly, fluoride turns the frogs gay too. So you can't always subscribe to what's been reportedly said. I'm not just saying. Like, it seems
that's
awful.
a salient. That's a salient fucking
The
point.
Rock just strolls out of there and goes, "You know what? Cody's
But
the
here's
right
the thing.
decision after all. Definitely not me."
But here's the thing. His ego is so big, and the fact that he's on the board of directors means that he absolutely could have gone, "Fuck it. We're doing it. Like, I don't care. I'm The Rock. This is going to work. And by the way, I'm on the board of directors, so we're doing it anyway."
Well, maybe. I don't know that we necessarily know the dynamic between the power of the board of directors and the power of head of creative. Like, if board of directors is in charge of, like, money things and stuff like that, that's one thing. But, like, can the board of directors really come in and go, "Listen, Paul, I know you're head of creative, but we want you to do this"? Like, I'd be curious to know if they had that power.
With the deal The Rock got, I think he can do whatever the fuck he pleases. He had
Yikes.
TKO bending over for him.
Well, that is until John Cena retires and then gets on the TKO board as well.
Oh! Welcome to WCW.
I referenced Cena earlier as the GOAT, and I truly believe that he is the greatest of all time. He deserves to win that 17th championship.
Wow.
I have no doubt in my mind.
He's the greatest. I will say he's the greatest WWE champion of all time for sure.
That being said, I don't know that he's a bigger star than The Rock. I think The Rock is somebody who transcends wrestling. And again, no shade to Cena's career. I think that Peacemaker was far and away way more entertaining than anything The Rock's done. At least anything The Rock's done recently. Cena has a great comedic timing. I don't think he gets his due over The Rock, but you can't argue the fact that The Rock is a literal multimedia superstar.
Oh no,
and is treated like it.
No, I don't argue that at all. I think if they're, I don't know, I would say they're pretty equal. Maybe Rock, a little bit edge over John Cena, but I believe it also has to do with timing and generational things, because at the time whenever Rock came through and stuff like that, it was coming up through the beginnings of the Attitude Era and everything like that. you had a lot less handcuffs on you creatively and stuff like that. Cena made a name for himself under harder circumstances with more limitations on creativity and stuff like that.
Absolutely. JBL had a post about that. And I couldn't agree more. Like, he absolutely was handcuffed, and we gave him so much shit for decisions that weren't his to make.
Right.
Yeah.
But he got over in like he also transcended the business and stuff like that. Like John Cena's got his hands in a lot of fucking stuff outside of wrestling, in media and everything like that. That I think yeah, there's that. I mean, he's the voice of Ferdinand or whatever in the fucking that animated movie. I mean, every Honda Pilot commercial I ever hear, it's John Cena's voice. Like, and I'm not saying that to try to argue against the fact of how big of a star he is compared to The Rock or anything like that. But I am saying is, in their own respective ways, like, they've each transcended the business. I just think in different ways to varying degrees. It's close. It's a very, very close call as like who's truly the greatest, but that's always going to be subjective, and that's always, I don't know.
I think when you think of like worldwide recognition, Dwayne Johnson beats out John Cena.
I'll give you that.
Worldwide recognition.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to impact in wrestling, I think John Cena surpassed The Rock.
I'll give you that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I think John Cena wholeheartedly surpassed The Rock. I think they're close when it comes to outside entertainment influence. They have different niches, but I think they're close. Rock still has a bit of a lead on Cena. But I would say, hands down, Cena has been more impactful in the wrestling business than The Rock was.
Agreed.
I think if you judge it by their wallets, I think that's all you need to know. And again, I like John Cena just fine in everything else he's done outside of wrestling. Maybe more. I might like John Cena more in what he does outside of wrestling than what he did in wrestling. And I think that a lot of the Rock stuff that he does is total dog water. But
oh, don't you talk that way about the Tooth Fairy?
I think that
or the Scorpion King.
The Rock did a way better job marketing himself.
Oh yeah.
Than Cena did, and I think that's paid dividends. That's why he's in these big budget action movies. That's why Disney, turned over the keys to the kingdom. That's why the fucking DCU was like, sure, The Rock, you can have all the creative control you want. What's that? You just tanked our entire franchise with one movie, you fucking dolt. Like, that's why everybody is so quick. That's why TKO was so quick to be like, why sure, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, here's your name back in the tidy little seat on the board. And oh, by the way, here's this fucking enormous amount of money for you, all for being associated with us. Again, I'm not trying to disparage John Cena. I think 100% what Ransom said is correct. That in the wrestling world, Cena trumps The Rock. Maybe not necessarily in talent, but in terms of like what he did for the sport. And definitely in terms of like him as a face of the company. The fucking Make-A-Wish. I just saw a fucking story about a family that was forced to leave their home country, and the son was autistic, Down syndrome, something, and like he didn't understand what was going on, and it was like political refugee stuff. And his mom told him that they had to leave the country to meet John Cena. John Cena got word of it and like went to like Scandinavia or wherever they fled to meet them to make sure that like the mom kept her word.
Man,
like that's the kind of shit that John Cena does that like no one else in wrestling, because for whatever reason, in wrestling, people have this me mentality. And Cena never had that. And that's what made him special, because it was never about John Cena the man. It was about John Cena, I hate to say this, wanting to please the fans. Maybe not all of the fans, maybe not the smart community for sure, but he wanted to make sure that he was helping the product grow. And I think he did that.
Well, absolutely, and I mean, if you listen to everything that he said with his retirement, at the press conference and everything like that, he even said he's like, like people are trying to get specifics out of him, and obviously he's not gonna give all the secrets away and everything like that. But he said he's like, we had this vision, and they called me up and said, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and he's like, the time is right for it. He's like, and I just want to, he's like, I want to help add to the product the best that I can. Like, he has a very selfless attitude when it comes to the business and everything like that.
Yeah.
Now,
and that's why he deserves number 17 over Slick Rick Smalldick.
that actually was going to lead me into my next question to you all. Knowing what we know, that 2025 is going to be, seen as last year. He said, WrestleMania is not going to be his last match, but it will be his last WrestleMania. So he's got, I think it's reportedly like 30 to 40 dates somewhere in 2025 here.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's hard to say like when and where is his last match is going to be. I personally think
Mania.
No.
No, no.
He can't. He cannot work 40 days between January and WrestleMania, my guy.
No, he even said he's like there's going to be stuff extending beyond WrestleMania. He said, but that Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble will be his last Rumble. Mania will be his last Mania. But he's working through 2025. 2025 is his last year. I think that there's a good chance that if they have a Boston date somewhere towards the end of the year, that he has his last match there, or maybe at the Garden, because that's kind of always like, even though WWE doesn't like do big shit at Madison Square Garden anymore, it's still like there's still that air of some sort of special. It's a special place for WWE. It has been for a long time. It just has that kind of there's something to it sort of thing. So
I can save everybody a lot of time, and I'll lay out exactly what his last year should be and will be. I think that he wins the Royal Rumble. I think that he challenges whoever the world champion is and defeats them. Meanwhile, Cody is going against The Rock for the other title. I think he should win the WWE title, to be fair, but I don't think The Rock's ego is going to let him and Cody go for something that's not a title. So I think Cena wins the world title at WrestleMania, and I think he faces CM Punk at Money in the Bank and gets that victory back over Punk at Money in the Bank, which I think would be really special and really neat. And then I think we get to SummerSlam, maybe Survivor Series, and Roman Reigns is the one to retire Cena.
Reigns.
That was actually going to be my last question. Is who do you think would be seen as the last opponent, or like do you think there's a possibility that maybe like what if this would be a real fucking mind trip? What if in Cena's very last match, it's for a world title, and everybody knows that it's his very last match, and they go, well, there's no way they're going to put the title on him because, it's his last match. He's going away. This is it. He's done. What if they have him win the title on his very last match, and then he literally just retires after the fact, and he gets to retire as a fucking champion? Like, how fucking crazy would that be?
How much that would I don't know what kind of damage that would do to the belt though.
I mean,
Here's
I think we've come to buck the trend. I think we've come to buck the trend now, where it's not the old guard, where you don't have to go out on your back anymore.
Yeah.
We saw Sting go out on top. We saw The Undertaker go out on top. Why not Cena? Again, if we're proclaiming him the greatest of all time, and I am making that so proclamation, why not have him be the guy that goes out on top?
Well, I mean, if anybody,
here's motherfucker.
sorry, if anybody deserves it, Cena definitely deserves to go out winning. Go on.
Here's in a perfect world for me.
Yeah. I love that there was that long break that both of you were being so kind to one another, and you both went at the same time. I'll fix this. Ransom, go, then Pat.
Damn it.
Yeah, why don't you go make some more pics for your wife? Here in my perfect world, I'm just healing up on you, Pat. I'm just busting balls. That's all.
I know.
I believe the impact for deserving to go out on a win, yes, but Cena is about helping the business, and I think he truly is about helping cultivate younger talent, the up and comers. I can't think of a better way for John Cena to cement that legacy as like the guy who wants to elevate the next generation than to have his last year of like a complete newcomer that has never won the Money in the Bank briefcase before win, like a Braun Breaker maybe.
Or a Carmelo.
Not saying Braun, but like a Braun Breaker. He wins the Money in the Bank briefcase that year. Cena wrestles for the title on his last match. Cena wins the title, or wins that last match, is going to retire with the title. Everyone thinks it's lovey-dovey. It's going to be great. Here's a Money in the Bank cash in. They beat John Cena, and Cena puts over this new, young, up-and-coming talent. What better way to strap a rocket to somebody's back and go, this is the guy that we believe in. This is the new guy. This is the new blood, than to have John Cena win his last match for the title and then have someone cash in Money in the Bank on Cena and have Cena put that guy over as the very last thing he does in the ring. I can't think of a more storybook ending for Cena's career than to have him give so much to a young guy than to have that be the last thing that he gives. I could not think of a better ending for Cena. Not for the fact that he loses, but for the fact that I can go, damn it, after all the great shit that you've done for the business, after all the Make-A-Wish shit that you've done, after all of the GOAT things that you are, this is the last thing that you do, is you cement this young dude as the next guy to carry the company. Like, there's no more John Cena thing to do in the wrestling world than that.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you think, Pat?
Well, I know. I just, you mentioned, Cena winning the title in his retirement match and getting to retire as the champion. Just as a side note, thinking back, even though they came back years later, that's what Trish Stratus did.
Did she?
Her quote unquote retirement match was with Lita, and she won the women's title.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, I just thought it would be neat, for Cena, because I mean, like, when you think about it from a business standpoint too, anytime you talk about 16-time world champion John Cena, who's tied next to Ric Flair or whatever, like, when you think about when you think about it from a business aspect, do you want John Cena to always be right next to, tied with Ric Flair, who is contracted with AEW and hopefully doesn't have this many years left on this earth? Or do you want somebody like John Cena representing your band, so you can just say 17-time world champion John Cena has the most title reigns in WWE, blah blah blah. He can be this brand ambassador. He'll still be doing all the Make-A-Wish shit and stuff like that, because I mean, there's so many people that will still see him as John Cena, the character, the wrestling icon or whatever. But it makes more sense from a business standpoint too. Like like one way or the other, I think we have to see a title run with Cena in 2025. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. As much as I hated John Cena back in the heyday when he was shoved down our throats constantly, now that he's doing what he's doing now, I have a little bit more respect for him, and I'm glad for what he did for the business.
I have I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
And just it would make my oldest son thrilled to death because that's his favorite wrestler.
That's adorable. So here's my only reservation. We know the god worship that the head of creative has with Ric Flair.
Mm-hmm.
So like putting one dude ahead of like the dude that he's looked up to his entire life is going to be a very difficult pill for him to swallow. But I also think that he can put he being Triple H can put the brand before himself.
I agree. I think he's at that
and
point
be
in his
able to
life
have
he can do that. Yeah.
Right. So, and unfortunately, fucking Ric Flair apologists, Ric Flair fans are like the fucking Green Bay Packer fans. They will go to their graves claiming that Ric Flair has like 21 title reigns or whatever. You know, because there was, I don't know, like 5, I think. 4 or 5 that were like not counted for whatever reason. And I don't know the whole story behind them. But I do know that like everybody's like I that I've heard, you know, the old heads that are like, oh yeah, no, Ric Flair's a 21-time champion. So like at the end of the day, you're gonna have those like weird fucking recluse holdout people. But you know, I you know, at the end of the day, you're 100% right, Tom.
Yeah.
Like John Cena's you should be having John Cena be this guy that you're gonna blow the trumpet for.
Absolutely. Like
No
because
pun intended.
like you could you could sit there and argue, you know, these mystery title reigns, bless you, that Ric Flair supposedly did or didn't have. But there is absolutely no denying when you would say, you know, if it's still 16 or 17, hopefully, you know, 16 or 17-time world champion John Cena, you know, like you can say 17-time WWE champion, where the majority of Ric Flair's championships didn't even happen in the WWE, you know, so like that, it's just from a business standpoint, it makes sense. The only problem I could see them having is kind of like how Ransom said, is like Cena being the guy that he is, like the humble dude, maybe not wanting to take that title, to take that 17th title. Maybe he doesn't want to be the one to break Flair's record. Maybe he doesn't, you know, maybe that's something where Cena goes, you know what, nah, I don't know. Listen, you can throw all these accolades, you know, call me what you want, but I don't think I deserve that sort of thing. But but business wise, I think it absolutely makes sense. Like, I think you almost have to, like, why not? Like, given this scenario like that Ransom was laying out, like where towards the, either if it's his last match or if it's towards the end of his run or something, whatever, like, think of how big of a rub that would be for an up and coming talent like a Braun Breaker, like a Carmelo Hayes, somebody, to beat the 17-time world champion John Cena. Like, how big of a fucking rocket do you have strapped onto your back at that point? Like, that's amazing, you know?
Now, I don't want to poo in anybody's Wheaties here, but let's also still keep in mind that as of yet, Ric Flair has not passed on. If WWE makes Cena the 17-time champion, I'm not dismissing the possibility, based on Ric Flair's ego, Tony Khan's fanboyism, and Tony Khan's desire to want to constantly poke at WWE, for them to allow Ric Flair to win that AEW title to tie that up again.
Don't you dare.
No.
Because
Shut your mouth.
Flair, I guarantee you, Flair will politic for it. And Tony Khan is a coked out fanboy and wants to always get one up on WWE. Like, for WWE to be able to say they have the 17-time world champion. No. I'm just not saying I expect it to happen. I'm just saying that if Flair's still kicking when Cena wins his 17th championship, it is not outside the realm of possibility for this to happen. And mark my words, when it does happen, I'm going to give you the business.
Flair's already dead. He's just preserved from all the alcohol. He's pickled.
Hey, man, he has had so much of that in him, that walking bag of corpse can probably carry on for another 3 years.
Oh, God.
I will say this. That would be my tipping point with AEW.
Yeah, that would be like the absolute fucking death rattle of AEW. Like, if they did that, to me, that's even worse than WCW giving the title to David Arquette. Even
Wow.
worse.
I mean, I'm not even
Yeah.
saying that like Flair would wrestle a match, but I could see them doing something goofy, like, giving Flair, like, Flair's finally ready to retire, and for this retirement, like, either somebody lays down for him or they vacate the title and officially appoint it to him. Make it like he doesn't have to wrestle. I'm just saying, it will not surprise me if AEW finds a way to put the belt on him and tie that counter up.
I swear to God, if they do that, you know me, I'm a man of my word. I fucking stopped watching when fucking Goldberg beat the Fiend. I fucking took my hiatus whenever Punk returned. I'm a man of my word. If AEW and Tony Khan and his coked out fucking marked out brain ever decided to do that, to give Flair the title or somehow, some way, in some sort of fashion, make him a world champion, I'm done watching them. And I don't care if it causes us our fucking pretendership title here on the fucking Pixesodes and everything like that. I won't pick them. I will not, absolutely will not fucking pick AEW because I will not pay attention to that product because they will have lost all legitimacy to me. That is in the absolute worst case scenario of fucking, egos running amok. But there is an ego that ran amok over the weekend that, holy shit.
I also think Cena's run will be great. That's,
Thanks, Poot.
Oh,
That's
poor
fine.
Poot. Poor Poot.
I'm so sorry, Poot.
No, you're not. Go ahead, talk about Ethan Page.
Well, you picked him. I figured it would be a great fucking opportunity for you to boast that you and Scoob are the only ones that picked him.
Yeah, I'm just waiting my chance. It's like trying to thread a fucking needle. Go on.
Gotta be quicker than that, man.
Yeah, like the guy with the fishing pole and the dollar. Ooh, gotta be faster than that. Gotta be faster.
There are a lot of fucking mouthy mouths on this podcast, buddy. You got to barge in when you can, or else we'll just keep going.
Well, I fucking try, and then I get told, "You shut your mouth, Poot," and I go, "All right."
All right,
Stop listening.
Poot.
Quit
I
holding
would
them.
Quit holding
like
them.
to hear your thoughts
Quit
on
holding them.
John Cena. Ethan Page can take a fucking backseat to my buddy Poot. Go ahead.
Nah, frankly, you guys, like, I was sitting here, I'm like, I'm gonna jump in with something. Nope, someone got it. I'm gonna jump in with this point. Nope, someone covered that too. Oh, I got a salient point about AEW. Tom fucking got it. You guys pretty much covered it. You guys pretty much fucking covered it. Like, I know that sounds like super Starky, but I'm just like, damn it, I want to talk.
Well, then
That's what I do. I fucking talk.
Well, then fucking talk
Like,
about Ethan Page.
Fucking Ethan Page.
Or instead of letting Tom pivot.
There it was. I tried to talk about Ethan Page. Or fucking or.
I'm telling you, Poot, you can make your own decision what you want to talk about, and we'll pivot off of you. Go.
How about cashews though? Underrated legume.
This is why we don't let you make decisions, Boot.
Where's my disconnect button?
It's what you fucking get. Do it. Look. Goofs aside, the pick for Ethan. I'll talk about Ethan Page. We'll just pivot away from that because John Cena got all the flowers. That man's gonna be sneezing for a year and a half. Fucking Ethan Page. I understand. I saw immediately after he won this fucking belt. Immediately after he won the belt, people on there just going, "Oh, good for you. You left the fucking big leagues to go and be a champion in a development fucking company." Suck my fucking balls. Ethan Page deserves this, and having him come in here, and it wasn't a run roughshod. Like he came in, he lost, he came in to do the thing. I'm so excited. Ethan Page. It's not confidence, baby. It's all ego. This is I think he is going to be so fucking good because I watched and I saw, and the pop for him winning was so very. It wasn't like the pop where no one cared, where you don't get like a big like crowd like reaction. It was that fucking thing where they're like, "Oh, this fucking guy." That's how it felt. That's how it felt. Because when you have a character that Ethan Page can wield very well, he has such a punchable face. He is such a good fucking heel. That character, that bravado, that attitude, what he will bring, he is so easy to hate. And it was one of those things when he won, it didn't feel like we don't give a fuck. It felt like, oh God. Like that, like, now we got to fucking listen to him. Now we got to fucking hear from him. Now we got to hear all this stuff because it was enough to like legitimize everything he backed up. He talks the talk and now he's walking the fucking walk. I am here for it. I am absolutely here for it. And I'm glad to see Ethan Page finally, after all this time, getting his flowers. Do you remember when he debuted in AEW? Do you guys remember?
I do.
You do. It was one of the fucking brass ring ladder matches.
Oh yeah, that's
Sure
right.
was.
That was okay.
He was the Joker, to use their term for that. Like he was that.
Okay.
And when he debuted, I loved it because Ethan Page is fantastic. And I was like, great. All ego Ethan Page. Let's go. And they didn't really fucking do anything with him. Like, you know, he petered around, he pinned around. But again, I find that due to a bloated roster and stuff like that. You know, again, it's the same stuff we've covered a million times with AEW, and kind of like that, those things they have to start dialing in, or else problems are going to be had. More problems are going to be had. This is one of those times that I go, all right, Ethan Page, if they can do a slow increase, a slow move forward, and kind of keep track, I think he could do really good things. I think he will slot right in there with whenever he gets the main roster. I think he'll be able to slot in with the upper mid carders, and even be able to like cross over a little bit into the top card. You know, not sitting here saying put the championship on and make him the face of the company, but I feel like he's going to be really solid in that area down the road. I really do. That's what I have to say about Ethan fucking Page.
You guys, I have to go next because
Okay.
few things in this life bring me as much enjoyment as pissing and Poot's Wheaties. So I have to do this. Not kidding. I hate to burst your bubble, Pootski, but I don't think Ethan Page is going to be a long-term NXT guy. At least NXT champion. Like, take what I said about him beating Swerve, my God, Trick at the event that they had at the UFC arena. Take what I said about that, and then just kind of morph it to now. You know, I love All Ego Ethan Page. I do. And I think that one of the big fucking criminal things AEW has done was fucking mishandle the American top team stuff with Dan Lambert and Paige Van Zant and Ethan Page. I thought that was going to be a great fucking angle that would kind of like cross two worlds, and they bungled it so badly. But Ethan Page didn't really win the NXT title. Trick lost it. And the difference is that Ethan fell onto a guy and pinned him. Shawn Michaels using an old Shawn Michaels match ending from like 10, 15 years ago, whatever.
Yeah, and as we all know, that Shawn Michaels character didn't really do a lot in his career.
I know. Shawn Michaels didn't. Shawn Michaels didn't win that match, by the way. He actually lost. He was actually in the Trick Williams spot in that match. I think that they're just doing it so that they can give Trick the win on a big pay-per-view stage, premium live event. Excuse me. So probably No Mercy, which is weird that they don't have one SummerSlam weekend in Cleveland, but whatever.
They don't? Wow.
Not that I've seen, man. I think the next NXT event is No Mercy in September. Yeah, which again is weird, but again, I think that that's kind of what they're angling for, is Trick winning the title back in front of a lot of fans, or to bring in the first ever non-NXT member to win the NXT Championship. Oh, I believe.
Oh, you think?
I think there's a chance. I think there is an honest-to-God chance that Joe Hendry could win the NXT title as a member of the TNA roster.
I wouldn't hate that. I would not hate that at all.
I believe in it.
I mean, if they're gonna do it time, like, there's no better time than now. Like,
right, and I loved just because we're kind of like on the subject here, and again, I'm not trying to take heat away from Ethan Page. I absolutely, I'm there with Poot. Like, I'm happy for him, and he absolutely could go to the main roster and make a splash in the mid card. But I think that Joe Hendry showing up on Tuesday was kind of predictable. I loved the Rascals showing up because that was out of fucking nowhere. And it was bringing back a dude to NXT that they let go prematurely and albeit a little bit unfairly.
mm-hmm.
So, like, seeing those two come back was fucking chef's kiss. So, and now you're hearing words that maybe the MCMG are headed for the main roster, which, takes me from fucking, like, 10 to midnight. Like, I'm there, man. So, yeah, I mean, really, like, right now, the TNA partnership is real. And if it was ever going to be a thing where a guy outside of the company won a company belt, it's Joe Hendry, and it's now. I'm sorry, Pat, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it was either last episode or 2 episodes ago, we were talking about, in AEW, WWE guys winning AEW titles just because they're from another company.
Right.
So the Ethan Page win, although I like it, kind of strikes me as WWE getting back at AEW and doing the same thing. Oh, here we got an AEW guy. Here's a title.
I don't necessarily.
I'm not saying. I don't necessarily see it that way because I mean, the guys that win in AEW, they're established WWE guys. They've been there. People know who they are. Ethan Page is still relatively new to the wrestling community as far as getting his name over and whatnot. But
yeah,
in a way, it kind of seems like this is the same thing, only reversed.
I mean,
See,
you could maybe argue that point with Cody winning, but I think honestly, like the fact that Cody came back or whatever, they already knew they were gonna do that anyways, and Cody
Right.
Cody made a name for himself outside of WWE and everything like that, and he came back,
Yep.
a bigger deal. With Ethan Page,
Yep.
though, unfortunately, he was just somebody that AEW didn't take the best opportunities with or whatever, and didn't utilize him to his fullest potential. And I think I don't think him winning the title has anything to do with any sort of snarky back and forth between AEW and WWE. I think it's just more so. I thought it was a really interesting end to the match. I didn't know that was a previous Shawn Michaels ending of a match or whatever, but I thought that was really cool. I was shocked, and I think it just lends well to his character because he's a shit-eating heel that's didn't matter how he won, but by God he won, so of course he's the champ. All ego.
So I kind of look at it at a shot on AEW, honestly, because again, I think that Triple H is a pretty vindictive person. So like him losing in the ratings for like a year straight, I think really kind of set him off a little bit. And so now he wants to take a guy like Cody, who was held back in AEW, and be like, look what we're doing. Take a guy like Ethan Page and be like, hey, look how much you missed the boat on this guy. Maybe not. I don't know, but I could just tell you that I and again, like Ethan Page has been successful everywhere he's gone, with the exception of AEW, largely. He was a big guy in Impact. And again, like here we are talking about dudes that came out of TNA in the mid 2000s, like killing it, So like I don't think you'll ever be able to see, stop me when I'm wrong, but like TNA from like 2010 onward has produced a lot of this generation's talent.
I mean, if you want to argue if you want to argue the shot across the board thing, then why not have had Shawn Spears win it? Because he was a bigger name in AEW than Ethan Page was. Like, that would have made more sense to me if you're doing this as a vengeful, scorn lover sort of thing or whatever. Like, we wanna stick it to them and show them what's what. Like, then have had Shawn Spears win it, which, by the way, incidentally enough, holy shit, some of the spots that he had in that match, like the fucking C4 Death Valley driver into the corner, into the chair, like whoever he gave that to, Javon Adams, I think, or whoever the other guy was in the match. Like, the guy should have been dead. Like, but I don't see this. I don't see this as a shot across the board. I think it's just lending credence to Ethan Page's character, and I think, like Beef said, it's going to give Trick a chance to win the title back again at their next big thing, and
sure,
and then he'll be a 2-time NXT champion, and just kind of further building up Trick Williams eventually to get to the main roster. I still think he's a ways away, but they're trying.
I also wanted to make it clear that I'm not sitting here and I'm saying that Ethan Page is going to be top tier, everything. He's not going to have a crazy, insane, long, record-breaking run or anything. I'm just saying that I think it's going to be good for what it is.
Whoa.
Oh my.
Oh, you okay there?
No!
I thought that was you.
Yeah.
I'm dead!
That was me making the noise. I think that was Pat's microphone.
I thought it was Pat's microphone too.
Wasn't me, Gus.
Hogwash.
Poot is the one who is dead.
Poot said he's dead.
Well, rest in peace.
Dead!
Poot?
Look at Poot.
Poot! I'm fine.
Hey, I have a really novel idea.
13.
Close. So we have Pat here on the show. How about
shit.
could we do a live Stump the Chumps?
Did
No.
he send one
Are
in
you
this week?
serious?
I don't know. I mean, like, did you send it? Do you have a question in the queue for us, or?
I don't think I do, but
Wow.
Well, let me see if
Well-
you sent one to us so we can laugh at your face live.
well, I figured I was coming on tonight. I didn't need to prepare one.
Always
yeah,
be prepared.
no, he hasn't. Boo, boo, boo.
Boo.
Yeah.
We're both
Banned from the show.
We appreciate you being like the one person who said that. Dave sends them once a quarter, so
Yeah.
Do better, Dave.
got him.
Now that your wife's the champ, does that mean that she's gonna start sending in your Stump the Chumps then?
Oh my gosh! Stop it.
Stop him.
Stop him.
Fucking Poot from across the way. Stop him!
I'm glad we got a kick out of that.
Someone needs to clip
Stupid
that
blood.
shit and like soundboard it for the next time we do Stump the Chumps. Stop him!
Poot, that's on you. You know how to do that jiggery pokery. I haven't.
You're gonna have to send me the fucking document, cowboy.
It's
Just get off
always in
YouTube.
the Google Drive, cowgirl.
I'll figure it out.
Something different.
Are we done here? Is this
I don't know.
this cavalcade of
Shut it off.
miscreants over?
Do we have more to talk about? The White Six,
Podcast
anything?
over.
I mean, I could fucking talk about how much I'm disappointed with AEW, but that might be best served for another show. 'cause
You know
could
what?
go
I
on
want to
for a
hear it.
while
Let's do
about
it. Let me hear it. Talk about how to serve a job baby double.
I don't know, man. I just like it's so fucking hot and cold with them. Like I've never ever regretted buying an AW pay-per-view. They've always been amazing. They've always been incredible. I may not have always, agreed with who's win the matches, but they're always fucking amazing. But then like there's so much just like weird lack of long-term booking that bugs the fuck out of me. That like they just can't see the forest from the trees. I'll give him a pass on the Will Ospreay thing, not winning, because I think that allegedly that was a Will Ospreay call. He basically said, "Hey, I don't want to win this match. I want to show that I am willing to job to Swerve, and that everybody else in the company should be too." But then, like, the whole MJF turning heel thing, I think, is a huge boner. I don't understand it at all. The dude came back to a fucking Austin pop. Go back and watch Double or Nothing, or at least watch that clip of his return. I have not heard a pop like that in years from that side of a crowd. So, like, the
Is somebody
fact that they
snoring?
immediately,
That's my wife.
I think, oh, that's the champ.
Wake the
Thank
you.
hell up, Amber.
Champ's in bed.
Thanks for the cameo. Thanks for the cameo, champ.
Son of a.
Like the
$49.99.
Okay, Poot. Damn it.
All right. Unplug him.
Poot's just fucking like floating out in the atmosphere. $49.99. Like a fucking floating head. But like, I think the reason that they do that is because it almost feels like they changed their plans so quickly. And we've seen that before. We've heard stories about Vincent Kennedy McMahon ripping up scripts 7 minutes before airtime. A good wrestling show it does not make. So and like now they've sent Dynamite off the air twice in a row on a big heel turn. And yet they can't figure out why they're not even pulling 700K fans anymore. Like wrestling is all
Ew.
about ebbs and flows, and like I'll say this: I'm here for the Mariah May heel turn. I think that was coming and it was warranted and it was great.
Agreed.
I think the MJF heel turn was dumb. I think that they easily could have worked an MJF versus Ospreay match with like asshole versus asshole, and it would have been fine. But the fact that they felt the need to like delineate Max as the heel, I think was dumb and unnecessary, and just overall not needed. Now again, you know, the old adage, let them cook, could be in play here. You know, maybe MJF beats Ospreay for that title on Wednesday. Maybe he goes on to defend against Danny Garcia at All In. You know, maybe Ospreay then gets thrown into the main event at All In. I don't know. I can tell you this though, that I think that Adam Cole being out really fucked up a lot of plans. I just, for the life of me, I will never forget how hot AEW was last summer and how quickly it just like came to a halt on one injury. And I've never seen a product kind of turn on its head that way before. So even with fucking like Cody getting hurt, you know, like tearing his pec and everything, obviously that kind of screwed things up. Boom, he comes back and wins the Rumble. So like even with that, like that, you know, the WWE machine kept on chugging, but for AEW, it feels like they stumbled and they're still kind of like, you know, whenever you like almost fall and you do that thing where you run for like 4 steps before you know you actually like get your balance back.
Oh,
Or fall.
I think. Or fall. Exactly. One of those two things happen. I think that AEW is still in that like 2 to 3, 4 step thing where they're like, whoa, and we're not quite sure where they're going to end up yet.
They're like that meme of
Oh,
the
they're gonna
person like
fall.
they're like that meme of the person like slipping on the ice forever and it takes like literally like 30 seconds for them to fall down on their ass.
The fucking Triple H video that keeps popping into my feed,
Oh god,
where
that
him and Shawn Michaels are facing Randy Orton, whoever,
dude.
and
Yeah.
Triple H comes off the top and just takes fucking 30 seconds to fall. Yeah, exactly. Pat, you said they're gonna fall.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
You have no faith in them, huh?
You know.
oh my!
Again, I will say unabashedly that I am the AEW mark on the show, and again, as the guy who watches the AEW pay-per-views and most of the WWE PLEs, I'll tell you that what AEW puts out on pay-per-view is better content than what WWE does in terms of wrestling. However, in terms of story, it's a little bit different. So, like, I think at some point though, you have to kind of like juxtapose those things.
Right.
And you know, again, not to beat the horse that's already fucking in the ground 6
Come
feet,
on,
but like,
beat me, break me.
you know, Tony needs to hire people to help him, and he needs to not have the Bucks
Cocaine?
kind of doing what they're doing.
That too.
All right, that's the end of Beef's rant on AEW. Let's pack this let's pack this meat up. Poot!
We're
Poot!
done.
Damn it.
Goodbye from the atmosphere.
He had one
Is it-
laugh from a comment he made from across the room, and now he's just milking it till it's dead.
Yep.
Shut
the
the
thing.
fuck up. All right, thank you very much for listening to the P3 podcast. We had a really great time. And thank you very much to the Midcard Maniac for coming by. Thanks for the champ for snoring her way into our conversation. That was great.
Snorting
And,
her way in.
And you know, it's still, I think at the end of the day, we can all agree this is still one of the best times ever to be a wrestling fan. It's fucking great. the good conversations, bad conversations, good choices, bad choices, John Cena retiring, all of it, potential Ric Flair 95th championship reign, all things aside, I think it's great. This was good. And, remember, wash your balls or your lady balls.